Welcome to Drug Dealer Simulator 2. In this video, we're going to be going through my ultimate beginner guide. I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks to help you out in the game. And this is based on 63 hours worth of gameplay. I've completed the game from start to finish. I'm going to jump into this one with don't bag up the exact amounts for your clients. When you start the game, you'll have requests for like 2 grams of marijuana, 3 grams of marijuana. And what I was doing at the very start is, for an example, going to the packaging, selection marijuana, I was doing like, oh, this person wants a 3 gram, so I'll make that. Instead of doing that, what you should do is make 3 separate 1 gram baggies. Or I wouldn't even do that. I would always go with making 25 1 gram baggies because that's the stack limit. So when I've got these, if I was to put in, like, try and put any more there, they won't count. They will go into a separate stack. They stack in 25s. But make your individual 1 gram baggies, because when you go to a client, you can use these individually. So if they want 3 grams of marijuana, you can just drag this over to the drop. You can select 3 and it gives them that. That way you don't need to keep going back to the packaging table, the lab tray, whatever you want to call it. You don't need to keep bagging up different amounts of drugs all the time. You'll be able to roam around and find potential customers and stuff. It's just so much easier in this game when you have your single 1 gram baggies. And not only that, you'll be able to fit in a lot more clients every hour by doing this. At the start of the game, I was doing like 2 or 3. But as I got a bit more experience, I ended up doing like 5 or 6 customers per hour. It makes it like it's so much more beneficial doing it in 1 gram baggies instead of doing the individual like client's order. And then if we have a look at the boss desk, you are going to see all of the different reputation levels for the different islands in the game. And if you have excess drugs, so say your hideout has like over 300 grams of weed, what I recommend is if you're trying to work on the reputation for, let's say for an example, the archipelago, what you want to do is make like a big 100 gram package, take it to Lanzo, hand it in, because he is then going to passively distribute that throughout the people within the archipelago. You're not going to earn money, but you will earn reputation that will just build up on its own. So then you can go and you can hand out to your potential customers and stuff as well. If you've got dealers, like if you've made it that far into the game, they can distribute as well. It's going to help increase your reputation. Make sure you are handing in excess to the leaders because it's going to build up your rep passively. It saves you a lot of hassle. And then on the same screen, make sure that you are getting every single island you have available to rep level 2. The reason for this is when you get a car, you are going to have different parking spots. They are fast travel points. You're going to have all of these different ones available, like when you unlock them. But some of them are limited. You have to have that specific island at rep level 2. So in order to take advantage of the fast travel in the game, make sure your rep is going to level 2 with every single island. But don't worry about it too much after that. It doesn't make that much of a difference going 3 and 4. So don't stress too much about getting it past level 2, but make sure you are aiming for level 2 to get all of the different parking spots that are available on the island unlocked and ready to use. And next up, this is my distributor for the archipelago and for Small Island. And if we go here, this guy's got 1.2 million sat there. I've played the game a lot. This guy and my other distributors have been saving up for a long time. If you look at the bottom right, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that, but there is over $4 million sat there with my distributors that I have not collected. So what you want to do is every given opportunity, try and build your operation as big as you can get it without going too over the top. And make sure when you're getting these messages coming in, make sure you are serving every single customer you have. And that is because there are not too many ways to make money in the game. Most of it is done through your drug dealing. But it's incredibly important because you're going to need hideouts. And not only that, some of the quests are going to require certain things. One of them, like quite early in the game, is going to cost you $1 million. Some of them get even higher than that, up to the cost of like one thing in this game costing you $4 million that is related to your drug distribution. So whenever possible, try and expand your operation, but at the same time, you need to try and save. So make a balance with your money so that you're saving when you can and you're expanding when you can, because money is very, very important. You're going to start this game on your own. You then will eventually get dealers, and then eventually you'll get distributors, and that frees up a lot of time as it basically automates your business. But wherever possible, try and save your money and expand at the same time. And next up, when you first start getting customers in this game that are after amphetamine, make sure that you visit Marcus, because he is going to have stuff in stock and he will start selling you amphetamine in 10 gram baggies. But when you level up this shop, you'll see at the top it says level 3 max. When you level it up, he will start selling you blocks of 50 grams. These are going to cost a little under 1,000 per gram, and you're going to sell this stuff, at least on Small Island, you're going to sell it for about 2,500 per gram. So you're always going to make profit off this. It's better to make it yourself, like make the amphetamine yourself, but at the very start, grab some of this because then you can at least start serving customers. But also, this guy sells a pink liquid or a pink bottle called fennel. That's what I'm going to shorten it to. And make sure that you grab all of that, because when you get your first hideout and you're producing amphetamine, this is a required resource. You need this fennel. But on top of that, if you go to a general store, you can pick up acetone and you can get ethanol, which is also going to be used on a kitchen stove to make your amphetamine. And don't forget to grab a cooking pot from the general store because you need that to actually be able to cook. So start off using Marcus, but eventually get all of your own stuff because your profit margins are going to be even bigger if you're making the stuff on your own. And next up is when you level up the rep with an island, you're going to be able to use a phone. You'll see phones in front of us. You'll see the blue icon on the mini-map. They are these little things here. You'll find them scattered all around. But not only that, you can buy them for your hideouts. It's just like a little landline, like house phone. It sits on your desk. But when you get a phone, you can use these. You can see all of your contacts here. And for an example, you can schedule a meeting and you can select one of the possible locations. You can go and meet the leaders of the islands. All you do is arrange the meeting. They're going to go sit there. You turn up at the place. You sit down and talk to them. When you hit a new rep level, make sure that you go and speak to these people, as they can basically give you contacts for new employees, and they can also give you a bigger cut of the money from the sales on that island. Lonzo, as an example, the guy from the archipelago, he started by taking 20% of the money I made. He would let me sell on the island. He would take 20% of the money. But when I built up the rep level, I had meetings with him. He dropped it from 20% down to 9%. And then when I was rep level 4, I had another meeting with him. And he's now only taking 7% of the cut. So I'm making a lot more money. You're going to get a much bigger profit if you schedule meetings with your contacts, with the leaders of the islands. Next up is when it comes to dealers, you can have more than 6 clients assigned to each one. But max it out at 6, because when you go over 6, you're going to have a penalty that's going to decrease the speed of your sales. But on top of only having 6 clients to get the max sales speed, also go and put your dealers on spots. So basically you have to then go and use the dead drops to drop off the drugs for them to sell. The reason you want to do that is because when they're on a spot, you're going to get a 20% sales speed increase, meaning they are selling your drugs faster, making you money quicker. And next up, the best way to get street cred. If you look at the top of the screen, you'll see that I'm a level 19 cartel because the game caps at that. And I'm level 4 street cred because the game also caps at the top end of level 4. The best way to get it early is by beating up the local gang members, the ones that chase you away whenever you go near them. You are going to lose some rep for beating them up, but you are going to get 32 street cred for every kill. You'll also be able to pick up some cash that they drop, and maybe you can take a weapon or two. If you go breaking into cars and buildings, because that is a thing in this game, you are going to get low street cred, like anywhere between 4 and 6, and you're going to lose a lot of reps, so it's not worth breaking into cars and buildings for street cred. And while the police are really good to kill, or knock out, whatever it is, they are very hard to beat up with early weapons, especially if there's 2 and normally a patrol is 2 police officers. So you want to try and stick to the local gang members. They're a really good, efficient, fast way of earning street cred, and do not worry about it after level 3. When you hit level 4 with it, don't worry about it whatsoever, because absolutely nothing happens, and it also caps at the top end of level 4, which you can see on the screen now. But getting it to level 3 is really important, because there are some people in the game that just will not interact with you unless you are level 2 or 3, depending on the person. So when it comes to street cred, beat up your local gang members, get it to level 3, and you are good to go. And then next up is to make sure that you have enough substance storage in your hideouts. If we go to my lab tray, you are going to see that I've got 101 kilos available. What you can do is if you hold down your spacebar, you build up your, you open up your furniture mode. If you have a look here, I have something called a large container. You can buy these from different shops, and it will eventually get bigger to the point where you can actually use an equipment store from this menu. But these large containers are available very early in the game, and each one of these, if we place 5 of them down, you are going to see our substance storage is going to go from 101 kilos up to 126. So each of those is 5 kilos. Whereas if we can even just leave them out. If you go into the furniture mode, you go to the equipment store, you'll eventually get large barrels. And each of these, you'll see substance storage, 50,000 grams, or 50 kilos. So make sure that if you are always running low on your substance storage, put down more containers. The large containers don't take up too much room, and you can put them very close to each other. And then the barrels are just going to be massive, like in terms of how much substance storage extra you get. But one extra little thing about this as well is make sure that every hideout you go outside when you are, like for an example, say you're cooking up amphetamine, you're making some weed as well. Every now and then go outside, look at the bin, and you'll have the option to press F to empty it. It's going to cost you money, but that waste that you build up by using your equipment is going to sit here in the substance storage, and it uses up that capacity. So every opportunity you get, make sure you are emptying that bin outside. There's one outside every single hideout in the game. Make sure they're empty, because otherwise you're like basically losing some of your substance storage. But bear in mind, it does get expensive. The more you're cooking up and stuff, the more expensive it gets. I've had one bin empty later in the game that cost me like 50 something thousand. It's not that expensive at the start, don't worry. Just make sure you're emptying it. And then the very last tip for this video is using the boss's desk. If you go into this menu and you look at the top right, you've got customize. This can be one you've got in your hideout, or you can even use the one, for an example, at Lanzo's. If you click on this, you can change the parameters of your game. You will start on the default experience. You've then got a few presets that are made up by the devs. You've then got custom. So click on custom if you want to change things around for yourself. And you'll see you can change things like your XP multiplier. You can make daytime go faster or slower. And then you can also do things like your sales. For some reason, loss and earnings are not available yet, even though it's the full release. Then you can disable raids. I got raided and lost every single last gram of drugs. Even the blunts out of my dresser. Everything was gone. All drug-related items were gone, besides like the liquids and stuff in my storage. So I turned raids off. You can then disable the enemies if you want. You can lower their damage. You can increase your damage that you deal. Your stamina, that's really, really helpful. So you can basically customize the game to play how you want it to play by going to the boss's desk and customizing at the top right. So that is my ultimate beginner guide, some tips and tricks to help you guys out in Drug Dealer Simulator 2. And what we are going to do is leave that video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about this game in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you out. Thank you for watching.